Hey guys, Mr. Decker here. Let's get into it. This is Unit 3, Lesson 15 on keyboard inputs. Let's go over our standards for this lesson. We're going to create clearly named variables that represent different data types and perform operations on their values. Design and iteratively develop programs that combine control structures, include nested loops and compound conditionals, incorporate existing code, media, and libraries into original programs and give attribution, systematically test and refine programs using a range of test cases, and finally, document programs in order to make them easier to follow, test, and debug. All right, our essential question for this lesson is how can our programs react to user input? Well, user input for this lesson is with the keyboard. So what happens when I hit spacebar? What happens when I hit up, right, left, or down, right? If I want my animations to move, right, we've learned how to make them move on their own using if statements and conditionals and using the counter pattern. But how can we make them move with user input? Meaning that when I hit the up arrow, well, my character on the screen moves up. My sprite moves. When I hit the right or left or down, he responds accordingly. How do we do that? Well, that's what this lesson is for. We're going to learn how to make our sprites move around or make our animations interactive with our users. So this entire lesson is on code.org. Make sure you are signed in on code.org with your school Google account. Your grade for this lesson is going to be based on your programming the lesson on code.org. And I've noticed that some of us are just clicking through these lessons to make the bubbles turn green. Your grades are going to reflect that you are just clicking through and making the bubbles green, starting now. So when I see that you've just clicked through and not done any of the work, well, the best grade you can possibly get is a 20. So, actually do the work. All right. Best practice is to watch me do a step in the video, pause the video, and then complete that step on code.org. Repeat until you're finished. When you're finished with the lesson on code.org, you need to answer the essential question as a text box entry. Steps to complete that process are below right here. I'm not going to read them to you because, you can do it. You've done this before. Again, here is the essential question. So you're just answering that in a text box. All right. Let's head over to code.org. If you're not already signed in, sign in with the red sign in with Google button. And then let's head to interactive animations and games. And we're going to go all the way to the keyboard input lesson, which is lesson 15. So you got to scroll down here for all the lessons we've already done. Here's lesson 15, bubble 1. Let's go to it. Question of the day, how can we get our programs to react to user input? We've covered that. So let's go ahead and jump into the new code we're going to use, key down. And key down means exactly what it says. So key down, and inside the parentheses, you would put which key you want the interaction to be with. So if I want the interaction to be with the G key, then I would just type G right there. So key down G, and you would use that with an if statement or if conditional. Let's jump in here. All right, bubble 2. Prediction key down. See if you can predict how the key down block works. You will not write any code. We're just making a prediction by putting our answer right here. Do this. It says, read the program carefully. All right. It's on line 1. It says, run this code and observe what happens when you press the space bar. Okay. So in the draw loop, we're drawing the background. Remember, these comment blocks don't actually do anything. They're just helpful for organizing the code. On line 6, we've got background white. So our background's going to be white. And then draw animations down here. We've got text alignment, center, center, text size 100, and then text key down space 200, 200. What does it mean? All right, so let's diagnose and analyze. Let's figure out what this code is going to do. So our background's going to be white. The text alignment is going to be center, center. So it's going to be centered both on the x-axis and the y-axis, so it's going to show up right in the middle of the screen, or the display area rather. The text size will be 100, so the text will show up somewhat big. And I predict that the text is going to show up, again, 200, 200, so center, center. So I feel like this is almost unnecessary because we're telling it again to show up at 200, 200, which is the center, center, right? So let's go in here and make our prediction. So I predict the text will show up in the center of the display area at 200x and 200y. And I wonder, because Booleans always are either true or false, right? And we never said what that text is going to say. So I bet you that the computer is going to read this as that we want it to say true or false on the screen based on whether or not the space bar is pressed down. So the text will say true or false based on the spacebar key press. All right. Let's run the program. That's the next step. So it automatically says false. So we're right so far about it reading this as a Boolean. I hold spacebar down, it changes to true. And if I just hit it, it just flashes true, right? But if I hold true down, true shows up because it's recognizing like it's true that you're holding the spacebar down. Now it's false that you're holding the spacebar down. Now it's true that you're holding the spacebar down. So the computer's reading it that way. All right, let's finish. Head over to bubble 3. All right. This program uses the key down block to detect whether a specific key is being pressed down. Love the grammar there, code.org. Good job. All right, do this. Run the code and try pressing the P and H keys. All right, so let's run it. We've got a giraffe face there. If I hit P, it changes to a pig. If I hit H, it changes to a hippo. All right. If I hit R, nothing happens because it's not saying if key down R, then anything. It's just blank in the then spot. So let's reset this. Look inside the if statement to see how the code works. All right. So if key down H, so if you hit the H key, then the sprite animation is going to change from giraffe to hippo, right? See this? See this? Set. So you're changing the sprite animation by saying sprite.set animation when or if H is keyed down. If key down P, so if you hit the P key, then the sprite's animation will change to pig. All right. So let's add a block inside the third if statement to change the animation to a different animal. All right. So down here on line 12, we've got if key down R, change it to a different animal. What animals do we have as choices here? Okay, we've got a rabbit there. That makes sense for R. All right. Because it starts out as a giraffe. So let's go to the sprites drawer, sprite.set animation. And we don't have to change the label because sprite is the label for our sprite that's being created up here. So sprite.set animation to rabbit, R for rabbit. So let's run that. Let's make sure everything's still working. So H for hippo, P for pig, and R for rabbit. It's working. So let's move forward to bubble 4. All right. Okay, so we're in the workspace down here. We've got the icon that means that this is part of a larger project and changes are going to be saved across the levels. So let's jump in here. Moving sprites. You can change your sprite's position based on key presses in the same way you changed its animations. Do this. Add an if statement inside your draw loop. All right, so we need to go to the control drawer, grab this if statement, put it in there, starting at line 10, right under the comment block that says move the sprite to the right. So check whether the right arrow key has been pressed down. So we'll go to world, key down, pop that in the if statement, and we're going to, from the drop down, select right, and then add code inside the conditional to move the sprite right if the right arrow is down. So we need to go use our counter pattern again. So we're going to go to Sprites drawer, and since we're moving it left to right, we're going to be adding to X. So we need to grab sprite.x, and we need to match the label to bug, because the variable label up here is bug. And then we're going to go to the math drawer, and we're adding to X. Back to the sprites drawer, sprite.x, match the variable, and we're going to, let's say 5, right? So every time we key down right, he should move 5 pixels to the right. So let's run it. And when I hit my key, he moves to the right. Now, he doesn't move any other direction other than right because none of that code has been put in there. If I hold it down, he just moves 5 pixels at a rapidly, right? If I just hit it, I hope you can hear my key press. If I just hit it once at a time, like tapping the right key, then he just moved 5 pixels. All right, cool. Okay, yeah, so this question, do you need to change the sprite's X or Y property to move it right? You need to change its X property, right? X moves left and right, Y moves up and down. Let's finish, and we're on bubble 5. All right, gears with conditionals. Let's make the gears spin only when the space key is being held down. Okay, so if I run this, my gears are spinning and I'm not doing anything. All right, so add code that checks whether the space key is being pressed down. All right, so let's go into our control drawer, grab our if statement. We'll go ahead and put it there. And we need to go to the world drawer and grab key down. And we're putting in the space key this time, so grab space from the dropdown. Or you can type space in there as long as it's surrounded by quotation marks. You're good to go. And now we can lasso this code here. And by lasso, I mean hold down your mouse button, Control-C, and then move that cursor. You see it's blinking right here. We need to hit our down arrow to put it inside our if statement so that when I Control-V, all of that code appears there. Now I'm going to take this code and get rid of it, because now I want it says that I want to move the code that makes the gears rotate so that they only rotate when the key is pressed down, right? So I needed to move that code inside of my if statements. Now it's if the key down, if the space bar is keyed down, then the gears will rotate. So when I hit run now, the gears aren't doing anything, but when I hit my space bar, they will move. Right? Now I'm holding it down, and so they're rotating as they should. Very good, sir. All right, finish. Continue. We're on bubble 6 now. Keyboard input practice. So we've got 3 practices to go through. Practice keyboard input with these activities. Choose from the following activities. We're going to do all of them. Fish with arrows. Make the fish move left only when the left arrow key is pressed. All right. So, this is putting me back in the animation that I made a few lessons ago where I was making the fish wiggle and move to the left and making my bubbles go up. If you didn't do this lesson, which some of you did not do, you're going to have a lot more work to do to complete this particular part. So here's all my code. So you can pause the video and get everything in here. that's supposed to be there. You can pause there to get all of that set up. Pausing again to get all of that set up. And the rest of it down there. Again, if you did not do this prior, you have to do more work now. Like my dad always told me when I was growing up, work hard today to make tomorrow easier. So if you didn't work hard on this lesson, guess what you get to do today? Work harder today. All right. As for me and the other students who have completed this part to make their fish animation run correctly, then now pay attention here, because we're going to go into getting our if statement added and making our fish move only when we hit the left arrow key. So let's move, and then we'll move the commands for moving the fish inside the if statement. So let's do that. All right, so down here, we're going to go to control, grab our if statement, and we go to the world drawer. We go to key down code. So key down left, I'm just going to type it in. And we're going to grab all of this code, control C, and make sure our cursor's in the right spot. Remember, that's this little blinking black thing, and control V. We're going to lasso that again and backspace that. So now when I run it, my fish don't move unless I hold down the left arrow. And that's what we want. So again, right, if you put yourself behind the 8 ball, that's on nobody but yourself, right? So make sure I gave you the opportunities to pause this and make sure you got all of the code put in correctly. You have access to everything you need in here to make that happen. If you didn't do it, you didn't do it. All right, finish, continue. We're on to B, debug turtle movement. Find the bug that breaks the program when the turtle tries to move left. All right. Bug turtle movement. This turtle program breaks every time it tries to move left. What I expected to happen is that the turtle would move to the left. What actually happened is everything stops working. And how to reproduce the error, press the left arrow key. Okay, so we're going to run the program and play with it until we see the bug, and then use clues to find the bug and fix it. All right. So the bug is probably inside the draw loop, and it said that it's messed up with hitting the left arrow key. So when I up, right, down, left. Left isn't working. So what's going on? Debug sprites on, reset run. Still not telling us what's going on. Let's look in the debug console, run. Up, down, right, left isn't working. Debug console is not telling me anything, so let's see. Key down up, turtle.y equals turtle.y minus 3. That's correct. To go down, turtle.y equals turtle.y plus 3. That's correct. To go left, turtle equals, I see the problem. So right here, we need turtle.x. So we go to the sprites drawer, sprite.x, pop it in there, turtle.x. Now let's see, when we run it, left key, oh yeah, everything's working now. Cool. Finish, continue. We're on to C, debug turtle movement 2. Debug why the turtle does not move at all and leaves after images. Oh. Huh. Debug why the turtle does not move at all. The turtle moves with the arrow keys is what they expected to happen. What actually happens is the turtle almost stays in the same place and leaves after images. I'm not sure what they mean by that. How to reproduce the error, press the arrow keys. Run. Huh. Weird. Okay, so reset. Run the program, play with it until you see the bug. Use the clues to find the bug and fix it. All right, let's look in here, see what's going on. Oh, okay. So we're recreating the turtle sprite over and over again. So let's grab this code, Control C, then backspace. And then we need to move our cursor up to the very top above line 1 where it's blinking right there, and then Control V up there. Oh, why aren't you Control V? Let's Control C then, or Control Z to undo what we just did. All right, and if you've messed up, you can version history start over. So let's get back in here. We need to grab this code, Control C, Control V. Why won't you put it there? I'm gonna use a comment block and then have the cursor there, Control V. Now it will go in. Okay, you weirdo. All right, so that's the fix for that. You know, in the world drawer, grab a comment block, throw it up at the top, get your cursor underneath it outside the draw loop. All right, so let's see if that fixes it. Yeah. Yep. That fixed it. So it was just getting the creation of the sprite out of the draw loop. And that's an error that I've seen some of you make already, and an error that a lot of people made last year when making their animations and games in this class was, I need to put everything in the draw loop. No, you don't. No, you really don't need to put everything in the draw loop. You need to put what you want to appear on the screen inside the draw loop. Draw Sprites takes care of putting this into the draw loop. Finish, continue. All right, done with those practices. We're on to bubble 7. All right, and I cannot emphasize enough at this point, right? This is lesson number 15 of this unit. You should have learned quite a bit at this point to where you can do this. You know, if you've just been clicking through to make your bubbles turn green, this 9 weeks grade is going to be, like I said, like a 20 or 35, because, you know, it's going to be pitiful. Make sure you're actually doing the work. And, you know, if you aren't, I'm going to start calling parents, emailing parents, and we'll have a conversation with mom, dad, grandma, cousin Jeff, or whoever it may be, to determine what the issue is that you think you can just click through instead of actually doing the work. So make sure you're really doing this, because you're going to be embarrassed at the end when we get to the project part of it and everyone tries to play your game, but you don't have one because you were just clicking through. All right, moving in all directions. You can make a simple game that moves a sprite around the screen. Do this. Add 4 separate conditional statements that make the wing bot move in every direction. So when I run this, there's my wing bot. All right, so we need to go ahead and go to the control drawer. We're going to put if statements in here. So if statement there, and I'm just putting them under these comment blocks. All right, so I've got 4 if statements in here. I'm going to toggle that away so I can see what I'm doing a little better. And then world drawer, we're going to go ahead and throw the key down code in here. All right, and this one's moving left, so left. This one's moving right, as it says on, I'm just reading these comment blocks. Moving up and moving down. So inside each of these, we need to use the counter pattern. So we're going to go to the sprites drawer. Moving left is on the X. Moving right is on X. Moving up and down is on Y. So we'll go ahead and get those put in here. And we're making our flyer sprite move. So I need to go ahead and put flyer. Well, let's make it easy. Let's do some computer science. Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. All right. Now we need to go to the math drawer and figure out which booleans we need to use. So our which math operators do we want to use here? So moving them left, we need to subtract from x. Moving right, we're adding. Moving up, we're subtracting from y. And moving down on y, we're adding. So back to my sprites drawer. Sprite.x, sprite.x, moving right and left, and then sprite.y, moving up and down. Putting these in the correct Boolean spot. And we're just going to make him move at the same speed every direction he goes. So 5, 5, 5, 5. Whoops. Control Z. 5. There we go. All right, now I need to Control C that, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. Because the labels all have to match. Because I'm only moving the one guy. So when I, uh-oh, what's the problem? We've got a problem somewhere. I'm not sure what it is. So to save you some time, let me pause, figure it out. All right, so I figured out my issue. All I had to do was hit refresh. I don't know why I needed to hit refresh, but here we are, computers and technology, yay. Okay, so now down, left, up, right. So the code is correct. I was like, what is wrong with my code? I know my code is perfect. Nothing was wrong with the code. It was an issue with Flash rendering on the page with code.org. Not my problem, it was their problem. So I refreshed it and I ran it and then it worked. Okay, so if you have that problem, you know what to do. Finish, continue. We're on bubble 8 and we've got some challenges to complete. We'll do 2 challenges, just A and B, because free play, you know, I could spend hours in free play. Try out these new blocks and challenges with keyboard input. Choose from the following activities. Key went down, click counter. So count how many times someone has clicked the space bar and learn a new block. Okay. So this is going to be somewhat similar to cookie clicker, I guess. So responding to a single click. This game counts how many times someone pressed the space bar, but it keeps giving points when the space bar is still pressed, even if it's not a new press. The block key went down will only give a point for new presses, so it's a better choice for this program. Do this. Run the program to see how it works, and then change the code to use the key went down block so that the program only gives you a point for new clicks. So run. Oh yeah, so if I hold down the space bar, the number just flies up, right? We want to use key went down instead of key down. So here's key went down in the world drawer. Pop that in there. Use the space bar. So now when I run it, if I hold it down, it won't add anything to it. It just stays at 1. So now I have to hit it over and over and over again, like cookie clicker, right? So now you understand cookie clicker. Yay, you. All right, finish, continue. All right, changing animation. Use a separate image for each direction of movement. Oh, okay, cool. We can do that. Changing images as you move. So first thing I want to look over here. So, all right, bee, fly, ladybug. Okay. Right now, these conditionals only do one thing, change the sprite's X or Y position, but you can actually put as much code as you want inside a conditional. A common thing to do in games is to change your character's image depending on which direction they're walking. You're going to make a bug that always faces the direction it's moving. Do this. Using the provided program and images, duplicate your chosen bug image 4 times. So when I run this, it's already set to the fly, so let's just use the fly. And that being the case, I'm going to get rid of the bee and ladybug animations so that there's no confusion. So to duplicate, you hit this right here. Duplicate. And then for this one, I want to flip the image. And to flip the image, I use this right here. So now he's facing right. So I'm going to label these fly left using camel case. Fly right. I'm going to duplicate that one. And for this time, I'm just going to rotate it. So that's going to be fly up. I'm going to duplicate that one. And I'm going to flip. Nope, flipping it doesn't work. So we're going to rotate him till he's facing down. Now he's facing down, so fly down. All right, so now we've got our animations ready. So now this isn't going to work. So because I changed the initial one, let's change it to fly right. So fly right. Make sure you do that because nothing else is going to work if you don't do that. If you changed the original one to a different name, you've got to decide which of those you want it to start with. So when I run it now, good. Now if I just change this back to fly, which was the original animation name. Whoa, what's happening? The computer's so confused because there isn't an animation for it to find called fly anymore. All right, so let's go in here and we're going to do set animation in each of these. Thankfully, that's really nice of them to make it easy on us. It's already got the if statements in here. So all we have to do is go to the Sprites drawer, grab set animation, and keep putting it into each of these if statements. So now my animation is named bug, so I need to match the variable animation name bug. And I'm going to Control-C, Control-V that to make my life easier. Bug, V, Control-V, Control-V. All right, now for each of these animations, I want it to point the way that I want it to go. So up is going to be fly up. See the reason why you label these this way? And then key down, fly down. Key down left, fly left. Key down right, fly right. It makes it so much easier and easier for easier for your brain to comprehend what's going on with it and what code you need to put in here and which animation is what when you label them correctly. All right, let's run it. So now right, up, left, down. Right, up, left, down. Now I sound like I'm trying to get you to do burpees or something. So there you go. Up, left, right, or sorry, down. Mr. Decker, have you not figured out your directions yet? All right, right, up, left, down. Right, up, left, down. Cool. Finish. Continue. All right, that's it. We did everything. So you want to click finish here. And the next lesson we're going to do is on mouse input. I hope you had a good time going through this lesson. I know I did. Hope you guys are having a good week.